We're going to take a look at doing some cool formatting things, and these are things which I really like about Microsoft Word. And so these are the different formatting things we're going to cover, and we're going to start off with watermarks. And watermarks are really a neat thing that you can do to add to your document. You go to Layout, and underneath Layout you have Page Background, and right here you have Watermark, and you could add a watermark, and it is just what it sounds like. So I'm going to choose to add a watermark of a picture, so I'm going to choose Picture and choose Select Picture. And then I'm going to go into my documents and find this image right here, and I'll save that so it's available for you to download and play with. And I could choose to wash that out or not wash it out. So I'm not sure how this is coming through in the video, but hopefully you could see that at least right there. And then here it's got a nice faded effect. I'm going to click OK, and there it added the watermark to the back of my document. I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to go back to watermark and take a look at adding a text watermark. And for the text watermarks, I have a couple of different, items I could choose from, or I could just type in my own. I'm going to choose Top Secret, and then if I wanted to, I could add something to it. Top Secret, yo. And I could choose the font, I could choose the size, I could choose the transparency, so, you could barely see it right there. I could choose the font color. I'm going to go with a darker one, so, you could see it fading in and out. And I can make it go at an angle. And then click OK, and there is my Top Secret, yo. Where did it go? Disappeared. Okay, there we go. And what happens when I zoom out? Okay, so now it's showing up. And again, wow, that was just kind of funny. Why did Microsoft Word do that? I don't know, but I just kind of zoomed back in, zoomed back out, looked back at the watermark, and then it was there again, right? Just looked back at it, and it showed back up. So if I wanted to edit that, I'd come in here, take out the yo. And there's Top Secret. Alright, so that's how you add a watermark to your document. Kind of fun. The next two things I want to show you is how do you add borders to your document and how do you add a background color. And adding a background color is just super easy. Right? We're in the page background area under the layout ribbon, and all we do is we choose the color. So there's my document in bright yellow. But that's kind of cool, right? If I'm going to send that to somebody, it's like, wow, okay, woke me up a little bit as I'm sitting at my desk. And then the next thing, to add to your document that you could do with your background is borders. I really like borders. And you could come in here and you could choose what do you want your border to look like. So here's a bit of a frame. And then that's 3-point. I could go with even larger. And I'm applying this to the whole document, and it's going around the outside, and I hit OK. And that's all right. I'm going to hit undo. I'm going to go back to borders. And under here I have art. And what I really would like is palm trees. And I've added palm trees now around my entire document. I'm going to click OK, and kabam. That's looking pretty cool. I like that. I might play with my margins because those palm trees are kind of brought in a little bit too much. I might go back down to, 0.75 on each one. And also on these, those are actually looking okay. So there's my document with palm trees, bright yellow, and Top Secret. This looks like it came from the President's office. The President of the United States. Top Secret documents with palm trees, bright yellow. All right, so that's kind of fun. I really like borders, and I really like the palm trees. I think that's great, and I really like the watermarks. And I really like the background color. I really like all this stuff, and I'm so excited I shared it with you. So I'm going to show you another really super useful tool in using Microsoft Word, and then after that I'm going to show you how to get rid of your background color, your borders, and your watermark. But first things first, I want to show you how to add line numbers. And so this is something that looks very legalese. So you could take your document and very quickly make it look all that much more professional and legal by simply adding line numbers. So you just go here under the layout ribbon and you choose line numbers, and you say, well, you could choose any of these, but I'm going to say restart at each page. And so here are the line numbers for each page. And I really like this. Like if I was going to be taking a writing class, I think having line numbers would be a great thing. So I could say, hey, like on line 22, and then we could all look at line 22 and see what I was talking about. So they do this all the time with legal documents, and that's how you do it. You just come in and you say, give me line numbers, and you're now like 90% of the way there to being a lawyer. All right, so that's adding line numbers. I'll leave them in on this document so when you download it, you could kind of take a look at it if you actually do download it and want to take a look at it. And the next thing I want to show you, just kind of like as a cleanup thing here, is how do you get rid of all this formatting that we did on this document right here. And the way you get rid of it is you go into borders and you say, I don't want borders anywhere there. Get rid of them and hit OK. Now they're gone. And I don't want any background color. Now it's gone. And watermark, I'm going to say no watermark, and now it's gone. And so I've cleaned my document up and got it back to just our plain vanilla list of what we're going through. And we just finished looking at line numbers. The next thing which is kind of interesting to know about is right beneath line numbers, and it's called hyphenation. And if you hold your mouse over any of these icons up here on the ribbons or the tools up here on the toolbar up above, you'll get the little tooltip. And if you look at the tooltip for that, it says turn on hyphenation to break lines between syllables of words. And so basically we can understand this, right? Like hyphenation means that we're going to hyphenate words. Instead of going to the end of a line here and just bringing it around and starting a line there, we'll have more of a filled out kind of look of text over on the right. However, that's going to come at the expense of having our words hyphenated. So watch what happens. Just watch this document right here as I turn on hyphenation. And it brings this up, and I'm going to click OK. Nothing happened. Let's try it again. Turn it on, and automatically hyphenate. OK. And now, because I chose automatically hyphenate, sing, right? Singing kind of became hyphenated right there. Projections became hyphenated right there. You know, so it goes through and it just adds more hyphens. That's what it does, right? Over here I have a hyphen, over here I have a hyphen, over here I have a hyphen. And if I go in and I turn it back off, don't automatically hyphenate, it kind of takes a lot of those hyphens away. So you can just play with that and see if you like to have hyphens or not. And you can play with this range and see like what happens when I increase it and not as many hyphens occurred. What happens when I decrease it, go all the way to 0.1. Right? A lot more hyphens occurred. So the lower that number, the more hyphens. The higher, the less. All right, so that's hyphenation. I've got 3 more videos I want to make for you tonight before I go to bed because actually it's pretty dang late here and I'm getting a little bit wiped out. But the first thing I want to show you is how to create a cover page. And if we look under the Document Elements ribbon, and so here we have the Document Elements ribbon, we have this over here, Insert a Cover Page. So I'm going to go up to the beginning of my list, and I notice actually I'm still working on line nums, number 41 line nums there. So I'm going to save this as and go look at which file am I on. I'm on 43, and so that's going to be 43 cover page. And just so you could download this when it's done. And I've got my insertion point at the beginning. I'm going to go down here and choose Insert Cover Page. And I have all these crazy looking cover pages I could choose from. I actually like the one we created in our document, which is just simple with words right in the center of the text. But sometimes these are very useful too if you want something to have a little bit more of a fancy finish. So that's the one that grabs my eye actually because it looks like it's got a nice flower in it. And I click it. And here is my nice flower. Well, the thing about these types of documents, doing a title page like this, is you get some nice formatting, but then it's a little bit more difficult to work with sometimes. So paper title, right? And you know that's pretty easy. But if I wanted to start changing, my entire document, it could become a little bit more difficult because I've got different things here which start to become a little bit hard to work with. But if I'm happy with that one look, it's pretty easy. Just put in a really simple cover page with a look like that, and you do it by going to the Document Element ribbon and choosing Cover, and then choosing the one you like. The next thing which is fun to know about is word art, and you're also going to find word art on the Document Elements ribbon, and you find it over here. So there's word art. And what is word art? Word art is art that is like, they're words that are kind of artful. And so I could have some text, and I liked this the Harvard trainer thing. And what kind of different looks can I go for with that? So I'm going to zoom in on that and then highlight that, and I can come over here and apply some word art. How about like that? That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty great, actually. And you'll notice that when I have my word art selected, I get this format ribbon where I have a lot of other choices that I could play with. So I'm not going to go through all of these and show them all to you, but you can see I could change things here like the fill color. I could go for different looks on it, you know, so there's different borders on it if I want to have a border. And I'm going to hit undo on those because I liked it better without a border. And I've got different effects I could play with. One of the ones I'll definitely tell you about is right here, which is text wrap. And they call it wrap text. I've always thought of it as text wrap. But you could come in here and you can say, hey, I want this wrap tight, just like we saw with an image. And now when I move this around, and we saw that with an image when we were creating our paper, if I put it over here, it's going to wrap the text around my image. And so if I had a lot of text, we'd really see this. So let's just do an equals rand and put some text out there, equals rand 1414, and then zoom back out and look for our thing. And you can see how the text is wrapped around my image. And I can move my image and get it in place where I like, and the text continues wrapping around. Well, you do that by selecting this, going to the Format ribbon, and going to Wrap Text and choosing Tight. You could also choose Square and see how that changes things, gives it a little bit more of a buffer. So that's playing with word art. You find it under Document Elements, and you can come in and you could adjust the way things look. So the last thing I want to show you here before I head to bed, I don't know what time it is where you are, where you're watching these, but right now for me it's 1:25 in the morning. It's kind of late. I'm going to show you the equation editor, and the equation editor lets you do exactly that. It lets you put equations into your Word documents, and so they have some already built here for you. So you could say, "Ooh, I want that equation. That makes me look really smart. I like that equation." Or I could just select this and hit delete. And try again, hit delete. There we go. I could also build my own equation. So I come in here and I say I want to insert a new equation. And when I do that, and you'll notice right now it's aligned over to the right, so I could see this little arrow. It's a little bit hidden there. I could choose it and choose justification left, and it came over. Now you can see that arrow well. Justification left, right, centered, right? So I could choose my location on the page. And then when I'm ready to start typing my equation, I could come up here and I can start choosing these different things to help me build my equation. So if I want a fraction, what kind of fraction? And they give me some common ones, or I could just start out with this one, and I could type in my own x, and I could type in my own y, and then I could come over a little bit, and I use my right arrow key to sort of come over, and I maybe want to add in, you know, this, and I could type in, you know, 4, and I could type in 76 or whatever, and I'm starting to build my equation. So it's not necessarily the most intuitive thing using the equation editor, but you kind of get the sense of it, and you have a lot of different things you could start putting in, and other little options up here that you could play with. And it's really something that you just have to spend a little bit of time with if you are into math and you need to put together documents with equations in them. But once you become familiar with it, it goes pretty quickly. As you saw, I was creating that pretty fast. So that's the equation editor, and you find it under Document Elements, under the ribbon over here on the right. Under Math, you have the equation editor, and Insert New Equation is how we started creating our own. Plus you have a few pre-built, commonly used ones like quadratic, Pythagorean, area of a circle. You know, you have a few over there that are already pre-built that you can use from. So that's using the equation editor.